Good morning, everybody. I'm not sure if my light is working properly or no, but let's start. It is Wednesday, and as usual, we're doing our live with David Kazarian, who will be joining us in a second, but for right now, let me tell you a little bit of an update on the market, what is going on, and how the real estate market in Las Vegas is doing. So this month we still have 2.5 months of inventory, and the new home sales are actually adding on to more sales. So we're creeping from 30% attributing to the new home sales to actually closer to 40% on the new home sales. David, trying to see if David can join us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Alexandra. How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you. I missed these.
You missed the sunny Las Vegas, or what did you miss?
All of it. Talking to you, everything.
Great. It's good to see you. And the thing that I wanted to discuss with you today, because it comes to a lot of people's minds, whether buying a house is actually a good idea, because a lot of people are hesitant. A lot of people are comparing the costs, the monthly cost, and obviously the prices are not going down. Neither the cost of living, neither the prices of homes. So there is, I think there's an obvious thing that there will be no crush. There will be no way of saving or sitting and waiting out to save on the purchase price of a house. There's almost no possibility that the housing crisis is going to happen and the prices are going to go down. So we're going to face another 2008, which I think we talked a lot about it in our lives, that 2008 is not happening. There are no preconditions for it, just like it was in 2008. And those preconditions, David, can you tell us what the preconditions were on the lending side?
For 2008 crash?
Correct.
So absolutely, it's very simple, really. Once you understand, it was a very vicious cycle, Alexandra. It was prices. Well, the 2008 crash happened because lending was very easy, and you could get a loan without really, if you had a pulse, if you had a little bit of a credit score, you could get a house. We had the NINA loans.
So the debt to loan ratio or debt to income ratio, those two parameters, they did not exist in 2008, correct?
Well, for some loans, they did exist, but then you had the stated income. So even if you had a debt to income ratio, you could just state more income. You could just put any number you wanted on the mortgage application. And it was stated. You would state it on the application. It was not verified. So honestly, debt to income ratio was irrelevant. What happened is when you make borrowing money so simple, people borrowed a lot of money, a lot of houses. People bought houses with zero down. And what happens is when you buy a lot of houses, the inventory shrinks. When inventory shrinks, prices go up. When prices go up, now you can borrow more from your own home that you bought. So you could borrow more and buy another home because you just pulled money out of your home. Now you have two homes. And again, the inventory continues to shrink, which means your prices are going up. And then now you have more equity to pull out. And I knew people had 5 to 10 houses. They started with one, prices went up, pulled the money, bought another one. You could do it with a no income, no asset loan with 0 to 5% down. The interest rate was irrelevant. And what happened is interest rate was adjustable because people chose the adjustable, in some cases, the negam loans. And what happened is now you have this temporary loan for a year or two, then it's going to start adjusting the ARMs, right? The 3-year ARM, 5-year, whatever. And now that it starts adjusting, which means the payments are going up. The rent is not covering your payment. Now you have 10 homes that you bought, and your payments are so high that now you have to come out of pocket, and your tenants aren't covering for it. Now you have these 10 houses, and all of a sudden you can't make the out-of-pocket difference between the rent and the mortgage payment, and people started sending those houses back to the bank. That's where the crash happened. It was very irresponsible banking back then.
And then there's one more thing that I remember of 80-20 loans that were going on left and right, where you didn't have to pay anything down. You could have two loans going simultaneously for the same property. You would be borrowing an 80% from one bank and 20 from another bank. So you could come into the transaction with absolutely zero money out of pocket and not be a VA buyer. So that's one, like another factor. And the third factor, if you look into the overall economy, one of the very important indicators, we had 8% unemployment. And for those of you who are constantly watching the consumer price index and the unemployment numbers, and a lot of times I'm talking to myself and David because we're monitoring those numbers, trying to see where the market is going. So right now our unemployment numbers are actually 3.2, 3.5, correct? So they're not even halfway. Yeah, they're not even halfway there. So, and if anything, with the inflation the way it is, with the cost of living going up, what we see more people, like more households, adding on incomes. So what I mean by it is that we have a younger generation getting their, like their first jobs, those high school kids. They're like, you see more and more of them. If you just go and visit some, like food places, like the dog groomers, you will see a lot of those young people working, and which is wonderful, which is actually great habit to start with from the young age. And then you will see a lot of families, like there was a statistics that I was looking at the other week, that there are more households that have the second spouse starting part-time or some kind of a job. So that tells you that people are adding income. But with all that said, so we're not looking into 2008 with the repetition of the 2008. But what are we looking at, and why would you still, with those ferociously high interest rates and those housing prices, David, why would you still consider the purchase of a house? What is the benefit? Is it a short-term benefit? Is it a long-term benefit?
Very simple.
Where is that benefit?
Very simple, and this is my personal opinion, and I always tell people this is my personal opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not an economist. Economists are wrong most of the time. We're all wrong most of the time, unfortunately. But I try to sort of imagine what would happen for prices to drop. For home prices to drop, we would have to somehow, if our average inventory in the last decade has been between 9,000 and 10,000 homes, daily inventory, I don't know, you tell me, probably 30 to 40,000 homes?
3,600 homes, this is what we have on the market right now in Las Vegas.
So that's 36% of what we've had in the last decade, right? So what I'm saying is, prices, if for the price of the homes to drop, we would have to have 30, 40,000 homes come onto the market. And I just don't see that happening. The only way prices can drop if you have oversupply of homes. That's what happened in 2008. You had oversupply of homes. You had way too many homes on the market that people foreclosed on. They went on the market and there just weren't enough buyers. That's why prices dropped. It's just very simple. It's just supply and demand. Right now, there's more demand at 8.5% interest rates. There's more demand than the supply. That's why even at 8.5%, prices are going up. I mean, we're closing loans where people are offering $10 to $15, $20,000 more than the listing price, which means with one transaction, now you've just inflated that neighborhood by 5%. With one transaction in 1 month, prices are going up. I just cannot, in my right mind, I just cannot find a scenario, and I try thinking of different scenarios where prices will drop. Can't. I'll be honest with you, I don't see a scenario where the Fed is successful in dropping the inflation. I still think we're going to have high inflation. And that's I'm not a pessimist, but I just don't see how we would stop inflation. And inflation means higher housing prices. So.
Correct. And one of the things that I would say about the inventory, so we have a little bit of a stagnant market, and the stagnant market is that we do have to look really carefully in the current sellers, and the current sellers are the ones that are highly motivated, that are due to some life circumstances, they actually have to sell. Like those are not the people that are trying to make a quick profit. Like you'll see very few flip homes right now on the market. Foreclosures are still super low, guys, for those of you who are hoping for foreclosures due through the forbearing or for whatever reason, or those of you who read that ridiculous article that said that foreclosures are up from 2021 by 182%. Yes, what that article forgot to tell you is that in 2020 and 2021, we had the foreclosure moratorium. So the number of foreclosures throughout the country was forever. Yeah, it wasn't zero. There were still a few foreclosures going on. There were still a few foreclosures processed, but it was like 1/100% compared to whatever it is right now. If you look into Las Vegas statistics, and remember, guys, real estate is hyper local. So what David and I are talking about today is actually the Las Vegas market, the greater Las Vegas area, the Clark County, Nevada. It might be totally different in your area if you're watching us from somewhere else. But being that real estate is a hyper local market, what you need to know the foreclosure. Like if you're interested in the short sales and foreclosure data for our metropolitan area, I will tell you it's the 0.8%, which is extremely low, and it is just there will always be people who will be foreclosed on throughout different because of the different life circumstances. So that inventory is not going to come and swap the market. So when it comes to the sellers with low interest rates, if they are not highly motivated and they don't have an extreme life circumstance, and when we're talking about the life circumstances, the extreme ones, we're talking about like the death, we're talking about something that is inevitably causing people to move out of their residences, like divorces. Usually the extreme ones, they're more connected with the negative than positive, but at the same time, we do have a lot of relocations. And what you see and what you can track right now is the relocations to the big metropolitan areas. And thanks God, you will, like if you look into the Las Vegas economy and into all of the different businesses, all of the different economical projects that are coming into town, you can tell that this city alone is set up for growth, and it's set up for multiple investments. So right now we actually have currently $67 billion actually pre-funded into different investments. And we're not only talking about sports and entertainment, we're talking about a lot of things, including the I don't think they announced it yet, but we're getting a new NBA arena that is coming up to Las Vegas, and we're definitely getting the that high-speed train that we've been hearing about since, I want to say, since the beginning of
You said
2000s.
definitely.
It is definite, because actually, like, the majority of funding has been secured for this train line. So, and that was one of the major factors. When you have
That's awesome.
the funding secured, this is when it is coming, and I think the delivery date is 2027. So on that, and why it is important, especially like for those of you who are trying to drive out of Las Vegas after the Labor Day weekend and hit some water on the road on the I-15. You would greatly appreciate the presence of this train right now.
I'll be honest with you. When I was moving from Colorado, this is like 2002 when I moved from Denver to Las Vegas, I was asked the cliche question, are you going to live in a hotel? Las Vegas has always been this poster child of like, it's not a real city, but I think Las Vegas has grown into its rightful name. It's very much a real city, and it's also, to anyone that thinks Las Vegas is undervalued, it is, or I'm sorry, overvalued, because we keep hearing this. Las Vegas is the cheapest, the most inexpensive metropolitan area on the West Coast. Go from Seattle down to San Diego. I don't care. Go take Denver and Phoenix, whatever you want to take. Las Vegas is the cheapest, and it is poised to explode. I think prices are just going to double in the next 5 to 7 years, if not more.
In fact, if you look at the statistics on the top 25 metropolitan areas in the United States, you will see Las Vegas always at the top 5, scoring super high on all of the economic parameters, including the cost of living, including the job offering, including actually the quality of life that people are getting here, including what it costs you to, like a mundane living, what it costs you to survive in this town, the job growth.
But doesn't it concern you though? Doesn't it like scare you that I see less and less people qualifying? I mean, to 2020, I had clients that moved out of state to different suburbs that they could afford a house. They lost every hope of buying a house in 2021. And that's going to come back one day. And people will not be able to buy houses. I mean, right now, a person that would have qualified for a $400,000 house is qualifying for a $250,000 condo. So I'm not too thrilled about prices going up in Las Vegas. I'm not. But I constantly tell people you may just lose your chance of owning a home if you're going to chase that good interest rate. Unfortunately, it's just how I feel.
Well, I would tell you that one thing that we cannot stop is the progress, and the progress and the rule of the thumb is for all of the gross metropolitan areas, why they're getting more condensed and why they're getting more popular is because the metropolitan areas with the economic growth, they offer more opportunities. They're going to offer more opportunities, and that said, they're going to get more congested, and the housing prices are going to be more competitive. Why do we have people moving to New York? Why do we have people moving to LA? They're moving for the job opportunities and for the ability to grow and to establish their careers in the places that actually offer you that, like this opportunity. But what we see in Las Vegas, guys, don't forget that right now, like the interest rates, they're the same throughout the entire country. So it's not like our poor Nevadans are getting, getting killed with the interest rates, but somewhere in New York, somebody's getting a 3% interest rate on the conventional loan. This is not how it works. The interest rates are the same across the country. And when the increase in the interest rates happens and the mortgage interest rates happens, what people do, they actually have to sit down and reconsider their monthly income, their expenses, and understand how exactly they can manage their family financials to do better in this situation. And that's why we have a huge migration of people with the fixed income from the East Coast and from California, from the states that have higher cost of living, and the metropolitan areas that have higher cost of living. And why is it happening? It is because their interest rate is going to be the same whether they live in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Boston, in New York, or in Las Vegas. However, if you're in a fixed income, if you're a retired person, if you're drawing a retirement, if you're drawing Social Security, if you're drawing a fixed income, or you have the fixed amount of dividends that bringing you your monthly income, if you're on your fixed income, the best thing that you can do for yourself and for your family is to move into the area where your income is going to give you the best living for the same amount of money. And this is where Las Vegas metropolitan area is going to score the highest, because we do have the best restaurants, we do have some of the best infrastructure, we have very good roads. We're not cheap on our car registration or insurances, but we do have great roads. We are still, even with as much of the road work as we have right now, we still don't have even nearly as much traffic as a LA area.
And we have a lot of rain, don't we? The climate's changing, hopefully.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I enjoy the rain greatly.
Yeah.
And for those of you who got scared, for those of you who watched those scary videos and the videos of the flooding, and I am very sorry for a number of casualties. We did have, we did have a couple of people actually
really
lose their lives. Yes. And once again, it's a good reminder, as exciting as it is when you see the stream of water coming down the street. There was a minor kid who decided to do some tubing in the stream of waters, and he got into an accident. So that's not a reasonable thing to do. And please advise your kids, because I know we're not used to the rain or snow in this town. And so it never hurts to give your kids a reminder that caution should come first before the excitement. So,
I want to tell you a story,
please.
Alexandra. We had a client that we pre-approved him. We pre-approved his son back in May, and he wasn't very thrilled about the payments. Rates, right? Who is? And then we pre-approved him for another mortgage, and his two sons were co-signing for him. So it's his older son buying another house. His two sons are co-signing for him. And this gentleman, once he saw the payments and everything, he just wasn't thrilled. He wasn't qualifying for the house that he wanted, and he says, "David, I'm going to save up $100,000. I'm like, it'll probably take you 50 years. Like, don't do that." So I said, "Why don't you come into the office?" He says, "I have these two sons. I want to teach them as much financial literacy as possible." So he takes them to these seminar, to that seminar. The real estate agent organized some kind of a talk about some insurance products. Anyways, and I said, "Just come in and spend an hour." Yesterday, actually, 5:00 at night, they came in. I didn't have to do this, but he brings his three sons, this gentleman, and we sat down for about an hour and a half, and we went through the calculator we had built, and we actually analyzed their situation, their rent that they pay $2,100, and if they were to buy a house that they want, $450,000 house, it would cost them $3,500 a month. So it's $1,400 more per month to buy a home. And once we were done, the guy's like, "Let me fill out an application." The younger son, he's like, "I'll send you my pay stubs. We have to buy a house." That was not me convincing. That was me telling, understand, rent versus own is not everything. That's not where your calculations end. That's where your calculations start. You got to go beyond that. Think net worth. Think 2 years from now. And in their particular case, they were better off renting for the first 3 years. Year 4, owning was so much more expensive. This gentleman, he couldn't be grateful enough. He was like, "Thank you for explaining this to my kids." And the kids were like, "This is the coolest tool that we could use in the future." They went home, they played with it, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's get you rental homes. Let's start and buy you a home every year." That was such a awesome experience for this father and his kids. Now I can't do it obviously every night but I just wanted to. I'm so excited that this person brought his kids and had this really cool experience, in my opinion. So I think you and I need to do a bunch of this educational stuff more for people.
And I think that, and we're going to do it separately on YouTube, just through
Yeah,
the constraints of Instagram Live. But
yeah.
what I love about this story is that, guys, owning a home is not going to be a universal positive decision for every single one of you. And it's not like that David and I are sitting here every Wednesday saying, "Oh, own a home, own a home, own a home." What we're here to do is we're here to give you the information that you should factor into your decisions. We're never going to make a decision on your behalf. All we can do is to give you the needed and the important factors so that you can make an informative decisions. And one of those factors is the fact that when you're buying a home, like the moment you buy a home, you actually fix the amount of your debt. Like you get a fixed amount of debt. Why is it important? It is important because you buy the house today, you buy it at the price of today. So your mortgage is going to be based on the purchase price of today's home value. And even though a lot of people would say, "Oh, homes are overpriced," I would say, guys, get together with the good experienced real estate agent and actually ask the real estate agent what has happened within the last 5 or 10 years with the market. And if the real estate agent tells you that there is no opportunity in this market, you're talking to a wrong person. I can name you right now multiple opportunities in this market. Opportunity number 1, when you don't have a lot of down payment to commit to your loan. Right now, guys, with this, yes, higher interest rates. However, the opportunity for those of you who are looking at the 3 or 3.5, 5% down payment, you have the opportunities in this market. And the reason for it, and that opportunity is not going to last forever, but the reason for it is that our average time of the homes on the market is actually increasing. So those sellers who, it is increasing, especially the higher the prices, the longer the house is going to be on the market. So when that happens, you have a lot of sellers who are actually consenting to providing to taking the offers with a little bit lower of a price if it needs to. Once again, I'm not encouraging anybody to submit lowball offers. I'm encouraging you to study the market and to study the properties. And if you are a buyer with a low down payment, or if you need the assistance, talk to your agent, talk to your loan officer, which exactly properties you should be going after. Because if you go after the property that just came on the market yesterday and had 50 showings or had 100 people show up for the open house, you're not going to get a discount, like be real. But if you look into the property that has been in the contract and for some reason fell out of the contract, if you look at the property that has been on the market for like 50, 60 days, have your agent talk to that person. See, like if they're open to decrease the price, if they're open to contribute some closing costs towards your interest buy down or to cover your loan costs. And it's all about in talking and communication. So there's plenty plenty of opportunity in this market. Even with the even with the new homes right now, people think that, oh, if I don't qualify with the new home lender, I can't buy a new home, which is absolutely not true. You can use any lender of your choice to purchase a new home. Moreover, this is some misconception that a lot of people are actually, I think they're missing out on a tremendous opportunity. Most of the home builders are going to honor the incentives that they're offering you with their builders if you cannot qualify with their builders, but you're already in the contract. They will honor the incentives when you come in with your lender.
I can't tell you how many times clients go to a builder's lender, and they can't close these loans, and they come back, especially at the tax office. The clients that I don't know, but even here, that we can't offer the 3-4% incentives that the builder does. And I tell them, listen, give them a chance. If they can't close it, make sure they give you the incentive. We'll close it. And we have closed these loans in the past where builders couldn't. It's just, yeah.
The truth is, it's all about the contract, and it's all about how you secure how you secure those incentives. And this is, once again, I'm telling everybody, every single person who is thinking or shopping for the new home right now, never, ever, ever walk into that new home sales office not represented. Even if you're just curious, even if you're just like walking with a friend of yours, never go there unrepresented, because it's like, I don't know, it's like going blindfolded into the
it's like getting divorced without a lawyer.
Yes, or getting a surgery without a surgeon, like
Yeah.
that is completely insane. And most of the time, people don't even know how to ask the proper questions or what questions to ask. And the new home agents, they're not going to volunteer this information. And the reason why they're they're the lenders that are like builder mortgage officers, they do offer you a great amount of incentives depending on the builder. But what they don't do, and what you have to be very careful with, they do not offer you a great variety of loans. They only do like 3 major programs: FHA, VA, and conventional. That's all they offer. So if, God forbid, your profile does not fit into a perfect box, you're most likely are not going to work it out with the builder's lender. So why I keep telling that is that you need to be very careful with the contract that you're signing with the builder. Builder's contract actually, if anything, strips you off a lot of rights.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when I come with my buyers into the into the new home offices, I always tell the buyers, yes, you're more than welcome to show this contract to your attorney, but what your attorney is going to say, they're going to say, bless you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
So they're going to tell you that this contract protects only one party. It is very one-sided contract, and it protects only the builder. It does not protect the buyer. That's why any kind of protection, any kind of gear that you can have, and one of your best tools in this transaction is going to be professional real estate agent. And it is the professional real estate agent who can make sure, before your earnest money deposit goes non-refundable, that we can negotiate the fact that if you don't qualify with the builder's lender, they're going to honor the incentives. And this is a lot of new sales representatives told me from the very beginning, that they're not going to do that. Nevertheless, when it came to the negotiation of the contract, they agreed. And right now we're getting into some crucial dates for the builders. We're talking about the end of the quarters and the end of the years. So there will be more incentives coming. And yes, builders are very difficult to work with as far as like you don't have like a solid source of information. You have to be on top of those communities. But I will tell you that like our agency gets the emails and gets the news from every single new home community in this town. We know what is coming up, we know what is closing, and we know who is going to provide the incentives to the incentives, the discounts, and who will be working with the buyers no matter what. But guys, the inventory is not going to grow. The inventory is not going to grow. The builder permits, the new home permits are not, like the number of those permits is not increasing. So the inventory, like, do not wait. If you are, like if you're looking to get into the house, do not wait for that inventory to appear on the market. It is not going to appear. It is not going to appear in the fall. Like there's no season. There's no seasonality in our market. Like we just have different types of buyers, but no, there's no seasonality in Las Vegas market. We're not going to stall for winter. We're not going to, like our market does not stop. So if you need that house right now, or if you need to know where your financial situation is and whether it makes sense for you to buy or it makes sense for you to rent, talk to a professional. Have David go through the numbers with you and show you black and white what those numbers compare to. Because in the short run, if we're talking about today's like this year, next year, if you're transiting through the city, and if you don't know if you're staying here or not, let's say if you're just out of college and you don't know where your job is going to be, most likely buying a house with the low down payment is not your best option, and it might not be the smartest and the wisest decision for you to make. But if you are on the opposite side, if you're moving into Las Vegas, if you're retiring here, if you are moving here for work, that you're going to be here within for the next 4 or 5 or God knows how many years. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your kids, you owe it to your family to actually sit down and look through the numbers, look through the opportunities. A lot of times, and David would not let me lie, a lot of times we will find the opportunity for our clients. For those who are eager to own a home, we will find the opportunity. We will find the seller who will provide the closing costs. We will find the seller who will do the upgrades to the property or who will do the repairs. And there's so many factors that can help you own the house if it is the right financial decision for you. And David, I know that everybody's talking about, the loan applications are down, but could you please tell me how many people do you have right now in your database has been approved and who had not had a chance to buy the house within the last 3 years? First, through the pandemic, because they didn't have enough down payment saved, and they were, they were ignored by the frenzy market. And now the ones who are not sure about the purchasing because of the interest rates. But the moment the interest rates go down, those are the people who are ready to pull the trigger.
So people that are just waiting, haven't gone through the pre-qualification, but they're waiting. I have about 250 of them. People that are actively looking for a home, I just cleaned up my pre-approvals. It was close to 100. I brought it down to 31 because the rest of them just gave up and waiting. So, and I probably have another
So those
400.
70 should join the first group.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
but they're pre-approved. The first group, the 250, we've had contact. They would get pre-approved, but they just are waiting. So it's like it's in the waiting category. We have 70 that are pre-approved. They can buy at any moment, but they don't want to, and we have 31 that are currently shopping. And we probably have another 400 of random, they're thinking about it, they're not necessarily waiting, they really don't want to. Some people have credit issues, income issues. We're waiting for tax season to help them with the taxes, or refer them out to a credit repair agency. No one's dying to buy a house, unfortunately. A very few people, a very few brave ones.
Which is okay, guys, which is okay. It's totally normal, like, because those who need to, they will still buy, and those who see the advantage of owning the house, they will still buy. But those of you who are thinking that, I wanted you to give us those numbers just to give the full picture to those who are thinking, oh, I do like this house. Maybe if the interest rate was like in sixes, I would jump in on the opportunity. But now think about it this way. So David just gave us you just gave us your numbers. And there are plenty of lenders in this town who can give us similar numbers. So we would say that every lender has probably 70%, if not more, of their current database that is sitting on the sidelines waiting for the interest rate to go down.
What does that mean?
Guys, what is it?
What does that mean?
What it means that the moment, like that morning that you wake up and you see that interest rate going down,
They're
the
going to call me
inventory,
literally the same hour. All 70%, all
exactly.
255 of them are going to call me in one morning. I know what's going to happen. Now,
but I'm not going to pull here's the thing, but when they come to us, I don't have more than the existing inventory. That's the thing, like, obviously we're working with our sellers and we have the pocket listings and the people who are ready to sell, even if they're not on the market currently. But here's the thing, the inventory is not going to shoot, the numbers are not going to shoot through the roof with those, like, with the interest rate going down. The numbers of the available homes, they're not going to go up immediately. And what that is going to cause is another frenzy of the pandemic market, where we had the, we had the bidding wars. And once again, those who didn't save up a great amount of money to actually pay the difference between the appraisal and the purchase, the appraisal value and the purchase price, those people missed out again. And right now, like, if people think that our prices went down, guess what? There's not a single home on the market which dropped the value to what it has been in 2019. Not a single home in Las Vegas market. It didn't happen. So overall, our prices are still up. And for those of you who are looking into, like, searching, scrolling through my stories, you guys can see the predictions that all those big companies were making at the beginning of the year, including the Fannie Mae, like where the housing is going to be. They all changed that. They
did adjust those numbers, didn't they? Yeah, they did
adjusted those numbers, and they're like, oh, not a big deal. We were wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, in January they came up, they said it's all going to crash, and in, was it July? They said, oh, sorry, it's not only going to crash, we are having an appreciation at 8%. Alexandra, what I was thinking is, you and I know that these lives are good. Obviously, we try to get as much information as we can, and we honestly kind of relay the information that you and I think, and we do talk quite often, but there's always going to be that notion when you ask a loan officer, with vested interest. We make commission, you make commission. There's that, don't ask the butcher if the meat is fresh, right? So there's gonna be that thought, and I realize it in people, the back of their minds. But so I get it. So we can only say so much, and we'll only get so much trust. And again, no one has a but we are the experts, and we do say if we think it's the time to buy. But I also I just wanted to share it with you. I also understand that people are gonna be like, well, you're saying it so because you make a commission. Some people have said it to my face. I'm like, really not. My reputation's more important. You're welcome to think that. There's no way around it. But there's no one else to tell you otherwise, because everybody else is saying the same thing. CNBC's the same thing. Zillow's saying the same thing. Prices are going to explode. You're going to move out to, I don't know, Arkansas to own a house.
I might, I might break a terrible truth to everybody, but yes, David and I, we work for money. We don't work for free. We don't work for candy.
Surprise.
Yes, we work for money just like everybody else. Like, we have the job that is for money. So, whether it surprises people or shocks people, we do get compensated for our time, for our knowledge, and not once in my 12 years of doing real estate full time, I had my client tell me that, I think that you will receive too much money for the service that you provided. So, and that, that means a lot to me. Have I seen the clients who were, who were looking for a discounted service and ended up leaving the money on the table? Every day. If you are interested, I have cases. I have every single listing that I ever took for the last 6 years since those big iBuyers companies were, came with the idea of buying homes. I have those investor offers, and I can show you every single day the difference between what you're going to get from the investor to what you're going to get, your house sold for, and after the real estate agent does the negotiation. And those deltas are way higher than what the real estate commissions are. So do not overlook actually the price and the benefit of a professional advice and representation, especially when it comes to something like one of the biggest purchases that you're going to make in your life, and it's going to be your home purchase. When it comes to those money decisions, and David can tell you what it costs you. If you were one of those people who in the beginning of 2023 was complaining that you don't want to buy a house with the 5% interest, David can tell you how much it costs you to wait between the January of 2023 to the September of 2023, and how much your payment is going to be different, just based on the interest rate right now. But also,
the battle we have, and I heard this from Elon Musk. He mentioned this. He understands this very well because Elon Musk is an extremely wise person, and most decisions are made for your regular day-to-day consumer. Most decisions are made by the payment, not the price, right? So your investor, you and I have investors that buy homes and invest in homes and make a lot of money. They don't necessarily look at the payment, but rather the price of the asset, what the asset will be worth in the future. This is the conversations I try to have with people, but the truth of the matter is that most of our clients, most of the time, are going to look at the payment. That's what's stopping them from buying a house. It's the interest rate. It's not the rate. The rate's just a number. It's the payment that it ends up being. So monthly payment is unfortunately the stopping factor, in my opinion, from someone making it big in real estate versus if you were to shift your thinking, all right, I buy this asset, what's my net worth going to be next year? So think net worth. This is the uphill battle I have every day is, guys, stop for a moment. Look at your net worth next year, 2 years from now. That's the trick challenge I have.
I was talking to one of my clients, and he brought it up to my attention. He said, you know what? He's like gaining the equity, creating the generational wealth is like, this is the most boring thing that you can do. It's like watching the paint dry. It's like nobody is excited about it because there's nothing exciting about it. It is a long-term process that is stretched over the multiple years. And what is extremely important when you get on that path, when you have a goal, you don't look into what is your goal of the day. You need to know what your goal is whenever. What are you looking for? Are you looking for the retirement? Are you looking into 10 years from now, into 15 years from now when your kids are out of college? So when you actually expand your horizon and you look a little bit more into the future, this is when you can actually better understand if the real estate, if the owning real estate is right for you, or any other investment that you make. It doesn't matter. Like I would say it's the money management part. If you look into the future, this is where you need to be. Like there are tools like there are wonderful tools on internet that you can see, like how much you should be worth when you retire, how much money you will need to retire, how much you should be making, how much you should be saving, like right now based on your age and based on your income, and how to get there. And those tools will tell you this is how much you need to have in real estate, in stocks, in everything. But that's a different conversation. What I'm leading here to right now is that if you look and if you live one day at a time or 1 month at a time, on the short notice, it's going to be, oh yes, probably renting right now. Today, this month, like in the month of September of 2023, renting a house will be cheaper than buying a house per month. That is 100%.
Can I ask a question? The person that
Sure.
said that building generational wealth is boring and it's like waiting like paint to dry, that irks me. So I have two questions, obviously. Does that person have generations to leave anything to? And just say yes or no. Yes. I'm just curious. And does that person own a home? She does? Okay. And does that person own a home, or are they a tenant?
It's a male. Yes, he owns.
He's got kids. He's got a home. He's got kids. He's got a home. And he says that your advice on building generational wealth is like watching paint dry.
I guess I didn't say it correctly. He says that it is not exciting. It's like people love to be excited about like about certain events. Like it's like house flipping is exciting because it seems like within a short period of time you gain like every profitable house flip is like a little success story. But when it comes to
I guess you and I aren't doing a good enough job if he compares house flipping to investing long term. House flipping is an active money making activity. You don't that's not where you invest your money unless you're the investor loaning money to a house flipping contractor. If you're out there buying, I don't know, doorknobs from Home Depot, that's we're not talking about that. I'm making money here at this office closing loans. You're a real estate agent. We make money here. We invested in real estate. That's how we make our house flipping is a different activity. And I think we're doing a really, really bad job if they're comparing investing with house flipping because it's so irrelevant. Like,
well, here's the thing. I would say that there are many avenues that people would follow, and things thanks God for the variety of different income streams that real estate creates for people. Like there's flipping, there's long-term investment, there's Airbnbs, there's a certain category of people who is actually buying like fourplexes and as primary residence. So there's so many variations of what you can do with real estate. And there's so many roads and ways how people can do it, which is absolutely, which is absolutely
I've got a
wonderful
friend.
about their variations.
I've got a friend in California, excuse me for interrupting you. He took a $1.2 million house, spent about 6 months renovating it, and he sold it for 2.4. That's house flipping. That doesn't exist in Nevada, okay? Because I'm the finance guy for a lot of house flippers in town, a lot of experienced house flippers. I finance them. They make like 30 grand by flipping a house. Yeah, you got to do like 2-3 a month to be even profitable, make it worth your while. It's just, for Christ's sakes,
David, you're talking from the standpoint of your experience, and there is a price tag on everything. And I know a lot of young people who are actually, who are buying the houses and fixing them up and moving out every 2 years, and they enjoy it. And this is, this is their lifestyle until they're going to have the kids. I know this is not flipping, but I'm saying that it is, there is a model for everybody. The question is when you look at it long term, because like this particular couple that is actually buying the homes and moving out every 2 years. I think they're on house number 3, and they said that they're probably going to go through 2 more homes before they have kids. So they're, and they're gaining this tax-free equity, which I'm extremely happy for them, because these are, these are the things that work for them, and they found that niche. They studied it, and they know the advantages, and it works perfectly for them. For you and I, probably tell us right now with your schedule or with my schedule, like, David, would you move the houses right now for, for a little margin and for a little tax-free margin? You're going to calculate it, think about, packing your wife and your baby, and you will think, no way. No way. You can't pay us. And besides, it's a tax season, so I know.
So there's a statistic, right? The 5 top things that are like most stressful. It would be the death. I believe it's getting fired. It's moving. It's divorce. It's moving, and it's getting a mortgage. So yeah, hurrah.
Absolutely.
Getting a mortgage is one of the top 5 most stressful things in a person's life, which tells me that it puts a lot of responsibility on our process, how we do loans, because it's one of the most stressful things in a person's life. But no, I understand that tactic, and it's not flipping. It's not a bad tactic if you get 250,000 up to 500,000 if it's a couple of tax-free capital gains. At some point they will have to stop. They'll have to think about the real income, but it's not.
No, it is their side income. It's not something that they do just because, this is not what they live off. This is what they can afford to do. And they do it, once in 2 years. They just add on to their, to their family budget and to their savings, so on top of their regular jobs.
I'll leave you with this thought. Every millionaire that I've heard recently, I keep hearing this. There's psychologists out there. That's Jordan Peterson. Alex Hormozy talks about this a lot. They're like, one of the main things of a wealthy person, and I get that that's not everyone's goal, but one of the main things, my main characteristics, one of the 3 actually, is the ability for delayed gratification, basically. So your boy that said that how generational wealth creation is, I'm kind of stuck on that now. You know this is boring, and he wants something exciting. That's not a characteristic of a wealthy person.
No, that was not the message. Not the message. Yeah. His message was that people are not excited about it, but like real estate investing is not a, like it's not a rolling coaster where you get a bunch of emotions. He's like, it's a slow walk to a very great goal. He's like, and those who can, he's like, it's like a marathon.
You know what's exciting? Once you have a portfolio of real estate and you look at it, you're like, oh my God, like I have clients, they look at, and I've built these
tools,
dashboards for them,
yeah,
right, with my tool. Oh my God, I'm going to make $400,000 of equity this year without doing anything for it. I'm going to make $700,000 of equity this year. Well, how do I make it $1 million? That's exciting, way more exciting than anything that gentleman could talk about. So it is exciting if you grow big enough.
Just to give you a little bit more context, like this gentleman that we were talking about, like right now, that gentleman is actually making a negative investments. He is buying the investment properties where his return on investment right today he is upside down, but it is a very calculated decision on his behalf.
It's very exciting.
Because the first conversation when we had with him years ago, I asked him, he said, I'm looking to invest. And I said, how long, like, what is your investment model? Because if you're looking to invest, or if you have a thought that you're going to be an investor, first thing that you need to study what is going to be your investment model. And this is exactly what David and I just talked about, is that there are plenty of models out there that you should study, and you should figure out which one fits you, your lifestyle, your income, your abilities, the area where you live in, and the how much time do you have. The younger you are, the more aggressive you can be. The older you are, the less aggressive you're going to be. You're going to be more conservative with your investments. So, and obviously, like the younger you are, when you're young, when you don't have the, like you don't have much belongings, you don't have the kids and the dogs and the cats and the mother-in-law that you need to, like move with you. Of course you can move every 2 years. You can move every year. You can go into primary residence. David, correct me if I'm wrong. Every 12 months, every single person is entitled to primary residence with 5% down, conventional loan. If this is something that you can do, please go for it. Go for it full force. If your life situation allows you to do so,
Absolutely.
if you are, so I have a lot of my clients who are medical professionals. These guys are making great money, but they're extremely busy. You cannot pay them enough to move, because moving to them, like skipping a day of work, can cost them a $10,000 day. Like, because this is the income that these people are making. Like those are the surgeons, those are like high professionals. They're making great money. So every single hour of their work time counts. So when they come and they say, you know what, I don't mind having a negative investment right now, because I am 15 years from the retirement, and I know that the rent is going to go up, and I know that the interest rate is going to go down, and I'm going to refinance. And right now,
that's a smart person.
I mean it. Yes, I mean it. I am going to, I'm going to take the loss on these properties, and I'm going to offset my high income right now with that loss, so that 15 years from now, when I actually retire, I'm going to have the income, I'm going to have the equity, and I will not have this, this salary that is going to push me into this high tax bracket. And this is not something that I came up with. Like, these are my genius clients who have the best, the best tax and financial advisors that do the numbers for them. And guess what? Nobody in their right mind would think that I'm going to make an investment and pay a little bit more. And I'm going to make an upside down investment. If if your vision is zoomed in on today, on this month, by the end of the year, then it's hard for you to see the full picture. When you expand your vision and when you actually have a goal that is going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, this is when people like David and I can help you with the information and with the tools, because we're not making the decision on anybody's behalf. All we do, we're just showing the numbers, we're just showing the numbers and the opportunities, and help you use the tools that are already available for you to see how the numbers work for different people in different situations based on certain properties, based on your particular scenario. Because what's good for me might not work for David, and vice versa. And what's good for us might not work for you.
Good talk, Alexandra.
David, I think that for next time, we do need to bring one of your tax professionals to talk about all of the perks and all of the positives and negatives of the real estate investing, owning the real estate. I think that once this tax season is over, and
the 20th, yeah,
yes, we would bring the tax expert from the what's the name of the company?
IQ Tax. It's on her calendar. She's aware. She'll be here.
So, guys, for those of you who are watching us right now, who are going to watch it in the recording, feel free to comment below with your questions on anything that is real estate tax related, or DM us with your questions so that we could have Ms. Crystal give us her professional advice as the licensed accountant. Am I correct?
What's that?
Crystal is a licensed accountant.
She's a registered tax return preparer.
Okay, so we can have the advice from the registered tax return preparer and the person who prepared like thousands and thousands of tax returns.
Taxes. Yeah.
And so if you guys have questions on how to write off or what you can write off and why, and how the situation changes when you keep your primary residence and get a new one, and when your primary residence former primary becomes an investment, you really, really need to know you cannot file your taxes the same way. Like if you got the investment property, now that there's some adjustments that needs to be applied to your taxes, and this is exactly what we would like to talk to you about and bring the expert here on to the air with us, so it could be discussed and it could be actually addressed. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them over to us. Meantime, anything that contains your private information or your financial information, only do it through the calls or DMs to David and myself. Our information is always on the description to the live. And thank you, David, as always, volunteering your time, helping us understanding and navigating through the market. Thank you for supporting our clients.
Always.
And being a perfect beacon and being a perfect guide for so many of our clients, making them happy and helping them to leave a lot of legacy behind them.
Yes, slowly and boringly.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. Thank you, David.
Big money is not sexy. Big money is boring, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I'll see you next week. Thanks, Alexandra.
Thank you. See you
Take
next
care.
week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.